from the Deer and Deer Hunting headquarters here in Iola, Wisconsin. Welcome once again to Deer Talk Now. I'm Dan Schmidt, along with Brad Rucks. Brad, we're back in the saddle. It's been a while.
Absolutely, and it's time. I mean, it's getting the time to think about big deer. We're starting to see some decent growth. The fawns are all out. I'm thinking about my fall food plots, so I mean, I'm getting excited for fall.
And a lot of great precipitation to get those plants growing. Corn's growing really fast. Everything's coming up really good.
Yeah, I think the entire Midwest, even in the South, I think they're getting enough rain. So I think this year for antler growth should be exceptional, where last year it was a little bit lower up here.
The exception there would be the West. We know our friends in the West are really struggling with the heat and the drought still.
Yeah.
So we're going to pray for some rain for them. We're going to be thankful for what we have. Like you said, a lot of fawns. I've been seeing the productivity coming out of this winter is really nothing short of amazing.
It truly is. And today I saw my first turkey poults of the season, and they're actually a fairly decent size, and I think there's 8 or 9 of them. So that's a good indication that the hatch will be strong. I mean, it should be a good year overall for us sportsmen.
Well, you guys want to see some proof of this, go to our Facebook page, Deer and Deer Hunting's Facebook page. Not only some great trail camera photos of bucks with growth already, we have wolf photos up there with wolves getting some fawns, coyote photos, some really cool stuff, some stealth cam video, raccoons raiding some goose nests, taking their eggs. It's some pretty cool stuff, so everybody check that out. Today is going to be a social media day. We fielded questions, and we thank everybody who submitted questions for Deer Talk. We're going to do this more often this summer when we don't have a call-in guest, but we had Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Everybody's joining in the conversation, and we're bringing back the prizes. Today, and I know, Brad, you're going to line up some really cool prizes. Today, we're giving everybody who asked a question their own page-a-day calendar. We've been doing this for a couple of years. People love it. It's a desk calendar. You rip off the pages. We got a little factoid every day of the week and a really nice color photo. Everybody's getting one of those. It's the Deer and Deer Hunting Daily Calendar. We're going to give you the 2015, so you're going to be all set for next year. But Brad, you got some cool stuff lined up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to start giving away some dead downwind scent packages and some other prizes. So make sure to submit some questions, because if we use it here on the air, you could win something good.
You could win, and all you got to do is submit a question. And the neat thing is we're very accessible. Facebook, Deer and Deer Hunting Magazine. Twitter, at Deer Hunting Mag. Google+, find us there. Just type in Deer and Deer Hunting. You will find us. We will find your question. Ask us a good one, and we're going to get you out a good prize if we use your question on air. We're also going to talk today about some of the new products in Shop Deer. We got some really cool stuff we've been lining up. Our e-com team has been really getting some great product in. We've been giving them some ideas. Today we're going to talk, after the questions, we're going to talk about the new game extractor, which when you first see it, you kind of scratch your head. It's a cool product. If you own an ATV and you have back problems, or you just want a cool way to get your deer out of the woods, we're going to tell you about the game extractor special at Shop Deer, but that's after the questions. We're going to get to questions. We're going to do this like we normally do. Brad's going to take a question, answer it. I'm going to take a question, answer it. We're going to try to get through as many as we can here for today's program.
All right. You want me to go first?
Yes.
Michael from Twitter asks, I want to use protein pellets and better supplements for deer on my land instead of using just corn, but it seems like they're ignoring it. Is it okay to mix the corn and protein together until they start feeding on it? Absolutely. I mean, a lot of times, even when you start mineral licks, and you're putting something good for them, the deer don't realize it, and they're so used to coming to salt, which is the majority of these products out there. You might have to add salt into the mineral licks, or in the supplemental feeding, you might have to have corn or put something else in and enhance that protein pellets. Once they get used to coming to that location to feed, they'll continue to feed on that. So it's just a case of getting those deer trained to know that this is the spot to come to eat. And once they're used to coming there, they'll come to it. It's kind of interesting this year, it's kind of the same situation with that glow coat, that UV coating that Evolved has come out with. Because a lot of times with food plots, especially when you hear rape, if somebody has never planted rape, turnips, brassicas, or just leafy rape, sometimes the deer won't really come to that. But once you've had it for 2 or 3 years, like on my farm, mean, they're not supposed to touch it till the frost hits, and literally they're into it early.
They're hammering it in September.
September, absolutely. It starts getting grow. And I swear they like the purple top turnips when they're like radish size. I mean, you just watch them eat
Pull
it.
them right out of the ground. We got some great video of that on our hunt last year and the year before.
Yeah, absolutely. They pull it out, drop it, grab it by the turnip, and eat it like it's a typewriter. So it's kind of cool. And I'm excited. I'm going to start using a little bit of that glow coat that Evolved has, because I think you could really train those deer to go to whatever if you start putting on their favorite food sources.
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, you could put that on these protein pellets, right?
I think so. I think if they're used to that being a signal that that's food, they're going to come to that as well. So
that's a great question, because you've seen that in places where people say, oh, I want to do the right thing and put out protein pellets. Well, people put them out and deer don't eat them because they're not used to it. And it's not like corn. It's not a straight carbohydrate like that. It's got, most times, something built into that pellet.
Absolutely.
It's good for deer, but you got to get them used to eating it.
Absolutely.
That's a good question. The other thing, Brad, what about, I know the question we get a lot is, when you put out protein pellets, I know rain can kind of make them mushy. Is there certain things that you should do? Of course, we have to preface all of this by saying, only do this where it's legal.
Yeah.
But is there any
there's a lot of
considerations there?
There's a lot of gravity feeders that hold protein pellets, and I would definitely gravitate towards using one of those rather than just let it spill out on the ground. The problem with that type of feeder is you can't really control how much is there. So if you're in a high deer density area, you're going to
They're going to eat it up.
They're going to eat it up. I mean, once they're coming in, they're going to eat that thing religiously. So then you almost have to monitor how much you get it in.
Gravity feeder, basically, you're pouring those pellets in there, and it's coming out as fast as deer can eat it.
And if you have a bigger feeder, you can build your own, put a roof over the top of it. You just want to keep the moisture off it, because otherwise moisture is going to, those pellets are compressed, and as soon as the moisture hits it, it's going to start to dissolve, and it kind of gets,
We've talked about mineral a lot. I know a lot of guys are still establishing their mineral sites right now, even in June. Some of the same considerations.
Absolutely.
And the other thing we have to stress there is just make sure it's legal to do that where you can do it. I know minerals is like fireworks here in Wisconsin. You can buy them legally, but you can't use them legally in most places and where we're living. So just make sure you're not breaking the law, because you do not want to get pinched.
Yeah, and a lot of other states have it where it's legal to put it out, but during the season it cannot be out. So you got to remove it. Yeah.
So check that out. Great question from Michael. Thank you, Michael, from Twitter. The next one comes in from Jason from Google+. This was actually the first question we got off the Google page. Jason asks, Dan, we have a terrible problem with raccoons and small predators that bother our feeders and crops, kind of the same thing there. We've seen turkey poults decline, possibly from eggs being destroyed. Should I hire a trapper to come in and do this? And would it be okay to do it during deer season? Lots of questions there, and what I would say is, if you can get a trapper to do it, by all means do that, because trappers are a hunter's, well, a lot of times they're hunters too, but a deer hunter's best friend and a land manager's best friend. Trappers know what they're doing. They know how to trap coons, especially. They know how to trap any animal. If you can do it yourself, most places you can trap on your own property. You have to check laws about that. The other thing you need to do is you might have to go through a trapper education program to legally put out traps. But what I'd recommend is, if you can do it yourself, it's pretty easy. Mm-hmm. You could do conibears, 220 conibears, with a bucket set, which I think you taught me that actually many years ago. You put that conibear within a bucket, and you're going to prevent dogs from getting in there, which is, you do not want to catch a dog in a conibear, because it will kill it if you don't get it out of there right away. Or box traps. I have a lot of success with box traps. Favorite one I found here last year it's called the Okie box trap, Oklahoma. I think it's Oklahoma Trapping Company, and you can find them on the web. They make a cool box trap in the fact that it's two circles that come up, so it's the door is going to come down and it's going to stay down. And another trick that a trapper here in town taught me last year was, instead of baiting, when you're baiting for coons in a box trap, or any trap for that matter, don't use a fat-based lure, use something sweet. And what we use is, we just use a big marshmallow and throw it in the box trap, and maybe line a couple of small little marshmallows going in there. I know you do the same thing.
Yeah, they absolutely love anything sweet, and marshmallows is one of my favorite. The thing about raccoons is if you see one, you probably have 10. I mean, they're kind of that kind of thing. And if you're using a box trap, one of the tricks that we do is I almost kind of like bait them in for a while, throw some marshmallows in there, get them used to coming in and out of that box trap, and then just start catching them and removing them, after a few weeks. Because it seems like if you catch the first one, you don't catch as many, but if you let them feed in there for a while, they're so used to coming in and out of it, they'll continue and you can catch every one of them.
And you have to do it. You have to manage these predators like anything else. This is one thing that I actually learned this year. Where we live, it is not legal to take an animal in a box trap and locate it somewhere else. So you have to dispatch it. And that's just the reality that comes with being a land manager, is you have to manage those populations, because if you don't, you're going to have so many predators that you're just not going to be able to do what you want with your wildlife.
Yeah, and you'd ask if you should hire a trapper. If you hire a trapper and it's not their land, which is obviously your land, they have to do it during trapping season here in Wisconsin. That is October is when it's going to start.
Season.
So it is during deer season. And you got to think long and hard. Do you want somebody, if you give them assigned areas where it's easy access, yes, I'd say absolutely hire a trapper and get rid of them. But if it's, like a creek that comes through, whitetails love to run up and down these creeks. They're not used to human intrusion
out
there.
During deer season.
Yeah, I would think long and hard about hiring a trapper during the core season there.
And it's a good question to ask now, because you can get a head start on it right now in June, this summer. And you could make a large enough dent in it it's going to help you this year, and then after deer season you can start up again.
Yeah, and raccoons are terrible because they're taking all the eggs from the turkeys, from the geese, everything. So they're into everything, and once you have them, it's hard to get rid of them.
Oh,
and
especially in places where we've hunted, like Texas and Oklahoma. We have them bad here. Down in some of those southern states, it's unbelievable. I mean, the number of predators that they have, especially coons. And if you're in an area like that where you're feeding deer, you got to figure that into your feed bill, that you're feeding everything else, including a lot of hungry raccoons.
Absolutely.
Good question, and thank you, Jason, for asking that. But what I'd also recommend is going to our sister site, Trapper and Predator Caller. They have some great tips, and not only tips, they have some great resources there in their store that'll help you learn more about trapping and predator management.
Yeah. The next question I have is from Melanie from Pinterest, and she says, I see occasionally online chatter about using a 243 or 2506 for deer hunting. I prefer a larger caliber, although I know these calibers will work and are popular for younger hunters starting out. Could you discuss the importance of shot placement and a good ethical shot distance while using these calibers? Now, it's kind of funny that you asked this question, because Melanie, I'm with you. I like a big gun. I use a 7 mag. It's way overkill for deer, but I like watching them fall. And I didn't really believe in the smaller calibers, just because when I grew up, I started out with a 30-06, which is a fairly large caliber for whitetails. And that's how I grew up, and it wasn't until my kids started hunting and I was seeing how effective these 243s are. It's amazing with the shot placement. We've dropped deer in their tracks at 220 yards, hit them high in the shoulder and the nerve bundle, and they just crumple. We've hit them perfect behind the shoulders and watched them run 40 yards and crumple. So it's a combination of, an accurate weapon, but the ammunition that they have for these firearms is so much better than when you and I were kids.
Oh, absolutely. The rifle you let us use last year for my daughter, 243.
Yeah.
We were using Federal Fusion ammo. She, like you said, she dropped that deer on the spot. And it was a nice sized doe. It was 100 yards approximately. And I was pretty amazed actually when I saw that. I knew that would happen, but I'm like, I'm shooting an 06 or 7 mag or something like that. Nothing on that little 243. It was a nice little gun and really good knockdown power.
I agree. And, the beauty of kids or even adults, because nobody really wants to fight the recoil. If you get used to it and you shoot a lot, but I don't think, it's common for the typical hunter to shoot their rifle a lot. And a lot of people flinch, especially, we watch them on TV, and you get somebody that's not used to shooting a rifle, and you watch them in slow motion when they're shooting, and you'll see them close their eyes when they're squeezing, and every element there, where that little 243, I think it doesn't kick very much, or the 25-06, and you can instill your kids, to shoot. And I can give you this situation. Last year, my son Noah, who started hunting with a 243 when he was 10, last year he drew an Iowa muzzleloader tagger, and the guy had a custom muzzleloader 50 cal. Yeah, and it was ported and everything else. It's still going to kick. It's going to kick, kind of like a 12 gauge. And he made a shot with that at 225 yards, and my friend's like, I've never seen a kid shoot like that. I said, that's because he shot these smaller caliber guns. He doesn't even think about the recoil. He's not afraid of it. He just gets that trigger, gets that crosshairs on the animal in the right spot, and pulls the trigger, and that animal drops.
That's, we grew up in a different era where we became afraid. We're shooting man-sized rifles when we're 12, 13 years old. And like you said, that 243, what's nice about what I found last year practicing with that, well, we practiced with the 22, all the way up almost to deer season. And there really wasn't much of a change there for her because she's shooting the 22, she's getting the trigger control, getting her accuracy. And then we put the 243 in there, and I was kind of like, she shot, and I'm like, she goes, Dad, that wasn't that bad. And it really wasn't. There is no recoil. It's a little bit louder. Yeah. But other than that, it's a really nice gradual step up.
One of the other tricks that we did when the kids were small to shoot more frequently, 223 ammo was a lot cheaper. So I went out and bought another barrel, and it's on the exact same gun. We put on that little 223, and they shoot a lot, and they got so used to that. During the deer season, I didn't even tell them we were making the change. I put on the 243 barrel, I loaded it up, they didn't see it, and both kids, actually all three of the kids, shot their first buck with a 243, and I was like, did it kick? And no, it felt just like normal. They didn't even realize that they had went up a caliber.
The nice thing too is those guns inherently come in smaller sizes. So it's not like you're, like I said, you're trying to wrestle with something bigger. That's a great question, and something that, like you said though, bullet construction's huge. Like I said, Federal makes great ammo. And the other thing too is shot placement is critical. No matter what you're doing, bow hunting, gun hunting, whatever. But if you study shot placement, if you get your shot simulator and you're looking, and especially rifle hunting, you can make that shot, drop that deer, or not let it go very far.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't take a heck of a lot of firepower to do it. Great question. Okay, we got one more before we get to our shop special, Brad. The next one comes from Chad from Facebook. We had a lot of questions come in from Facebook, and we want to thank everybody. We're nearing 400,000 fans on Facebook, which is incredible. We thank everybody who's on there. The great debate that goes back and forth. Just keep it in line. Remember, social media, there's sometimes no filter there, so refrain from the name calling, please. But Chad wants to know, and this is one that we both agree strongly on, I think Brad is. He asks, I have worn a safety harness for many years with my climbing and ladder stands, but I have not tried the Lifeline accessory. That's from Hunter Safety System. Should I be using one of these, and can you describe how to use it and why it's important? Absolutely, yes. Lifeline, I'll describe it quickly, and I know Tyler's probably got video to go with this, but a Lifeline is essentially a thick rope. It runs from your tree stand down to the ground, and it has a carabiner on it, and it's got a Prusik knot. And basically, you take your harness and you click it on there, and you push that knot up the tree as you go. Should you fall, getting into or from your into your stand or out of your stand, which we know 33% of the people do. That came from the deer and deer hunting surveys in 1999, by the way. That statistic: 1 in 3 hunters will fall while climbing to or from their stand at some point in their life. That will keep you from falling to the ground. Is it going to be fun? No. It's going to catch you and it's going to hurt, but it's going to keep you from getting killed or paralyzed. And I would recommend anybody who has any types of climbing stands or regular stand positions, like you're using the same tree with your climber or that type of thing, ladder stands, put one in every single stand. They're not that expensive, probably $30 a piece. It's a very small price to pay for safety.
And once you get used to it, because right away it seems kind of clumsy because you're actually sliding it up and then you're grabbing your regular handholds, but you can actually use that Lifeline as your other handhold. So you just slide it up, grab the rope short and just use that as your other handhold. And once you get used to it, it almost seems odd going up a tree stand without it, because you count on it so much. And as you mentioned, like I switched all mine over when my kids started hunting. I'd always been tethered into the tree, but I never used the Lifelines. And yet, once the kids started hunting, I wanted something safer, and we started using them. And now we got them on all of our sets, so it's not even second nature.
You've heard this story. I've told it to you many times. I probably said it on air before too, and I want to repeat. my life was saved by one of these things, and it was 15 years ago this fall. Essentially what I had was I had a lifeline on. I was hanging a tree stand with a Summit Swift tree, the ladder that goes up the tree. And I had a spider belt on, which is a lineman's belt. In addition to that, well, the lineman's belt is around my waist. The lifeline is above my head. And as I was hanging that stand, Tracy and I were dating at the time. We weren't even married yet. And I was leaning back, and that spider belt just blew wide open. I would have done a swan dive backwards onto the ground, probably landed on my head, and that thing caught me. And after that happened, I said, these are going on all my stands. And some people say, oh, I'm tough, and I'm a tree monkey, and I can do all this stuff. Yeah, you say that until you fall. You say that until you break your back or your leg or something. If you're climbing a tree, my goodness, I mean, it takes 5 minutes, not even to put one of those things on a tree.
Yeah.
Why not do it? Because you're spending all this money on all this other stuff. What's another $25, $30 more to put a lifeline down? You have to look at them. They're very easy to use. What we basically say is buckle from the time you're on the ground to get up until you're down.
So yeah, stay attached. The stands are so good right now. You don't have a lot of stand failures, but what you do have that you can't count on, we all have tree rats. I mean, there's squirrels everywhere. Those squirrels will chew on anything. They chew on the back of a strap that you don't realize or any of that. You grab a hold of your climbing system and they chewed the back of the rope or something. You just never know.
Or you slip. I mean, you slip. You're getting out of your stand, you miss the step. How many times have we done that? It happens.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to get into the stand. I've had it where a step has failed, especially on the tree ladders. Some of those fail, or you slip, or something like that. It's always when you least expect it, something happens.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'd rather be caught and take that, just falling like 1.5 feet with that tether on you, it's going to shock you. It's going to hurt. But it's a heck of a lot better than falling 17 feet to the ground.
Absolutely.
Or however long it's going to be. Great questions. We want to thank everybody for asking those. Please bring in them, because the more questions you bring, the longer we're going to be here, and the longer the deer talks are going to be, and Tyler's going to love us for taping a little bit more shows in the future. But let's talk about a couple things for short show specials today. Shop deer hunting. I'm going to move my cup. I'm going to move my page day calendar, which you guys all get, by the way. A couple things. The first one, Brad, we have all these angle accessories in the store, and this one is a cooler / dry box. And what I like about this is basically we use this for camping. It's got 2 metal hasps. Can you see that? Let me turn that so you can see it. 2 metal hasps, and that opens up. You got a little tray you can put stuff in, but there's tons of room in this thing. And what I like to use this for is you can put if you're going on a day trip, you can put your boxes of Triscuits and whatever else, granola bars and things like that, or your wallet, your papers, whatever your hunting licenses. That's going to keep everything dry. So you can use that in a boat. You can use that traveling. You can use it as a cooler. This one in particular is like a way big, oversized lunch box. Very nice. Keeps ice as well as the cooler does. That's one thing. We got these in the store. They're very inexpensive. Check those out. That's the Angle line of dry boxes. And Brad, you got one of the new. Those are the brand new coolers, which are really cool. Got them molded in.
Yeah, absolutely. What's really cool about they're heavy duty. So they got the rubber gasket in there. They got a lot of insulation in the walls, handles, all the rope handles, so it's not going to pull through. It's just a nice cooler. And you actually had experience just using this past weekend, right?
This one, and I'm not going to name names, but this one keeps ice longer than any cooler that I've ever had, hands down. It was 85 degrees and humid, and here, I had that thing in the garage. 2 bags of ice on Monday. That was on Thursday afternoon. On Monday, not a single cube of that ice had melted.
That's impressive.
What I think it is these hasps on this thing. It's got the open that up again. The liner. These are rubber gaskets.
Yeah.
So the key between this cooler and other coolers is that those gaskets close, and then you lock it tight with these little buckles. They're rubberized buckles, and I think that's the bomb of all these coolers.
It's almost a cam locking system.
Cam locking system. We have this one. It's got the camo. That's actually a proprietary camo pattern for Angle. We have those in the store. We have just about every size you could want to get in the store. ShopDeerHunting.com. Order today, you get 10% off if you say Deer Talk. So you just put Deer Talk in the checkout box. One more item, and this one we're going to have to show rather than on video, rather than and explain rather than we have it here in the store. But we have this new product. You might raise your eyebrow when you see this. It's called the Game Extractor. These guys are out of Canada. It is a really cool product. We saw them at the Archery Trade Show this year. They had a booth there, and we said, "What's this all about?" They had a video going. They had some of these things in stock there in their booth. Essentially what this is, it's a welded aluminum device for your ATV. It looks big, it's light. And you basically just put that in the 2-inch receiver on your ATV or whatever vehicle you might have. And if you have a hard to reach area to drag out a deer, or you want to take a tree stand or something, it's just unique. It's a little, basically a Y-shaped end on this receiver, and that you can just drive your deer right out of the swamp or wherever you want to go. Now, some people look at it and say, well, I'm going to be dragging my deer. Well, you're going to be dragging your deer anyways. And what's really cool about this thing is it's so light that I don't know what it weighs. It's a few pounds.
Yeah.
You could try to make one yourself. It's probably going to weigh 200 pounds if you do that yourself. I don't know how to weld aluminum. I'm going to buy one of these because I think it really come in handy, especially if you're hunting for bear, moose, elk, something where it's hard to access. You have a swamp, it'd be perfect for that.
Any lowland areas where especially it's tight conditions, or it's a bear just to drag, where you can't get your ATV trailer in, or it's small enough that literally you got to use an ATV rather than a UTV. I think it's a perfect thing. I don't know how many of you guys ever loaded up your own whitetail on the back of your ATV, but basically it is a pain when you're
dead
buying.
weight and you got arms and legs flailing all over the place. Yeah, if you have a little Ranger or something like that where you can throw it in the end gate, different story.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is,
Even then, how are you going to lift it by yourself?
there's a lot of young guys who say, "Oh, I'm just going to do that." Well, there's some of us not so young guys. It's like, you know what? I threw my back out once before. I don't want to do it again. This is super easy to get, especially if you don't have that far to go. If you don't have miles to go to get your deer out, or if you just want to get it out of the swamp to where you can handle it, or get to somebody who can help you with it. It's really cool. It's called the Game Extractor. We have them on sale at Shop Deer right now. Just go to Shop Deer Hunting, put in Game Extractor, and I actually wrote down the product number here for you. It's T5680. T5680. Just enter that in the Shop Deer search button there, and it'll take you right to the Game Extractor. Today's special, free shipping. Huge. I mean, it's a bigger product. It's bulky, but it's free shipping. So you're going to save yourself probably $25 right there. Check it out, the Game Extractor. That's today's special. On that, Brad, we're going to close this week. We're going to bring everybody back next week. Do we have minerals next week? Or
Minerals, yes. It's going to be mineral.
Matt from
Real Deal.
He's going to tell us all about the summer mineral program, about how he's getting his deer big through nutrition.
Yeah, he's already getting some great photos, so
you got to see
hopefully we can get some of those as well.
His Facebook page is great. Okay, well, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. For Brad Rucks, I'm Dan Schmidt. Join us next time for Deer Talk Now.